Here at Chairman's Briefing, we break down stock movers of the week in mining. I'm Rachel Lee, and Eloro Resources is our partner for this one. Gold and silver prices were lower in midday U.S. trading on Monday, as both metals saw selling pressure on worries that the Federal Reserve will lean hawkish, despite delivering a rate cut this week. Markets are pricing in a 90% chance of a quarter-point rate cut at Wednesday's meeting. But expectations are growing that the Fed may still strike a hawkish tone on U.S. monetary policy due to worries about sticky inflation. Adding to uncertainty, producer inflation reports for October and November have been delayed until January. They were originally expected this week. Now, if the Fed surprises the markets by either keeping interest rates unchanged or raising rates, we could see a sell-off in equities and precious metals in the short term. Fed Chair Jerome Powell will hold a post-meeting press conference, and his comments could provide guidance on how the Fed will treat rates at its next meeting in late January. India is the force behind silver's rally to record highs above $59 an ounce. The country accounts for nearly 80% of global silver bar and coin demand and is the world's largest consumer of silver jewelry and silverware by volume. Now, this is all data according to Metals Focus. So the game changer, though, is that starting April 2026, India's Reserve Bank will allow people to pledge silver assets as collateral for loans through banks and financial institutions. This is the very first formal recognition of silver in the regulated lending system. Shares of Orla Mining saw selling pressure on Friday after Fairfax Financial dumped nearly half of its position in the company below market price. Fairfax sold 25 million common shares for aggregate proceeds of about $440 million. The liquidation occurred in connection with a rebalancing of Fairfax's investment portfolios. Now, here's what matters out of this. This was not a fundamental issue with Orla. This was more like portfolio rebalancing that created forced selling. The block sale pressured the stock as the market absorbed the volume, but nothing changed about Orla's assets. The company has 3 wholly owned projects. It's Camino Rojo in Mexico, which is an operating gold-silver mine, and Musselwhite in northwestern Ontario, Canada, that's been in operation for over 25 years and has produced over 6 million ounces of gold. Lastly, South Railroad is a feasibility stage gold project on the Carlin Trend in Nevada. So for investors who are watching Orla, the sell-off could be a buying opportunity. In his very first major strategy briefing, almost 5 months into the job, Rio Tinto CEO Simon Trott outlined a plan to generate up to $10 billion by shedding non-core assets and tightening capital discipline. On the chopping block are borates, land, infrastructure, and processing facilities. Capital expenditure is projected to drop significantly from 2028 as spending on large projects winds down. More importantly, copper is taking center stage here. Rio has raised its 2025 copper production forecast on stronger activity at its mine in Mongolia, and they're targeting 1 million tons of annual copper production by 2030. Omineca Mining has launched placer gold recovery operations at its Wingdam Project in British Columbia's Caribou Mining District, and the market has responded. Now, before we get into it, placer gold is gold that is eroded from hard rock and been deposited by water in gravel. So it's easier and cheaper to extract than traditional hard rock mining. The Lightning Creek region has legendary history dating back to 1861. One early prospector actually took out 1,700 ounces of nugget gold in his first 3 days of panning surface gravels. Wingdam is targeting a buried channel underneath Lightning Creek, and the company is now making its way through the central placer gold target. For a junior explorer, this could be a tangible step toward cash flow, recognized by the market in the past few days. And guys, that's your briefing for this week. Don't forget to subscribe before you go, as it does mean a lot to this channel. I'm Rachel Lee. Thank you for watching.